Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Cori Bush. Cori Bush, she just lost her primary election, and she gave a speech. It was real extreme about the speech. We talked about this in prior videos where Cori Bush was being challenged by another Democratic senator. Actually, he was running for Senate, and he pulled out to run against her in her district. I believe he was being backed by a Jewish political action fund, and because of her, rhetoric and her support on Hamas or with Hamas and Palestinians. So she lost her election, or her primary election. We know what's his name, the fire alarm puller. He lost his primary as well, and they're being put on this hit list to get these people out. And I'm specifically talking about Jewish organizations. They want these people out of the Democratic Party. Okay, they don't want them in office if they're going against them. Is it right or wrong? I can't tell you, because you got to look at both sides. So she is out. We're going to discuss that. And Tim Walz, he made his first public speech at the Pennsylvania rally last night, and he had some few things to say about, running for office. He talked about his background and why he will be a good person with Kamala Harris, and why he chose to back Kamala Harris up. So we'll discuss that more further in detail on another episode of Business Talk. So you guys stay tuned. You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Please put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. I see we have Noble Young in the building. It's always good to see you. Okay, so we're going to get started with our first video. Now, this first video is to me, it's kind of cringe. It kind of tells you a background of Kamala Harris. She's kind of cringy. People don't necessarily like her. I think she picked Tim Walz because he knows how to speak publicly. He was a teacher, and he was a coach, a football coach. Okay, so that's his background. He does have a military background. People don't like him. Other military veterans do not like him because he decided to say, hey, I'm going to I didn't put my paperwork in, but I'm heading for retirement once they were called in Afghanistan to go to Afghanistan. I think this was back in 2006. He said, I'm retiring and I'm trying to run for office. And his battalion felt some type of way. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Well, it actually is here. But what I'm getting at is, I think Kamala Harris actually chose him because he knows how to speak to the people, and he knows how to get them riled up, the crowd riled up. And he spoke very well last night. I'm not a fan of his, but he did spoke very well to the public last night. But if you don't know him, if you don't know his background, you probably would be voting for him if you were a Democrat. Okay. I'm just here to just give you all the information. Now, some of the information that I don't know. Is he backing off of his extreme views? Because he's more extreme than Kamala Harris. But in his speech, he's taking the Republican stance. Okay. And this is, let me just share this with you. This is what I'm talking about. Now, when I say cringe, they was together on the stage and it was kind of cringe. And she decided to introduce, and I'm saying Kamala Harris decided to introduce him. This is just 18 seconds when they first got on the stage. And she kept on repeating, "Good evening."
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
So she kept on saying, "Good evening, and he's in the background, kind of, got this goofy look on his face. I don't know. Maybe he felt kind of awkward, being on the stage. It's a big crowd. I don't know if he's used to that big crowd. He is the governor of Minnesota, but so maybe not, maybe so. I'm not for sure. But it was kind of like a ill, what is going on? And she kept on saying, she had that goofy look, as she does always. And maybe that's a filler look for her because she doesn't know what to say. Okay, so she introduced him, and it was a pretty packed crowd. You could hear them. They were pretty excited about the choice. They're in Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro did speak that night. So they're in Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro spoke. I'm not for sure how they feel about Josh Shapiro, but they was cheering. Okay. I'm not for sure what we see what's on camera and what the media is showing us, but we don't really see what they really feel because this is not a total representation of Pennsylvania. Okay. So, he took the stage, and one part of this interview, he started talking about mind your damn business, which I feel pretty like, okay, is he taking the stance to say, hey, we want the government out our business? I'm assuming that's what he's saying, but your track record says different. Okay, so this is him talking about the government, the golden rule. And people say, "Oh yeah, I love it. I mind your own damn business," and it's like, okay, you don't practice what you preach.
It turns out now some of us in here are old enough to remember. I see you down there. I see those old white guys. Some of us are old enough to remember when it was Republicans who were talking about freedom. It turns out now what they meant was the government should be free to invade your doctor's office. In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and their personal choices that they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choice for ourselves, there's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business. These guys are after my heart chanting, mind your own damn business. That feels good, so thank you. Look.
I believe he's talking about the reproductive health care issue. He's stating, mind your own damn business. But it's kind of odd to hear him say that because he hasn't exhibited that within his own state. I shared with you guys yesterday, he issued out propaganda to black media, black radios to spread misinformation in regards to the vaccine to persuade black people to take the vaccine. Okay, that's one strike. Okay, the next strike is You decided to sign a bill if some minor cross your state to get reproductive or sex change for trans kids, or gender, what they call gender affirming care, in your state, and you will protect the kid, and you will penalize the adult if they try to come and pick up their kid. You're not minding your own damn business. This bill that he signed this bill into law. So I don't know what angle they're trying to push. And he spoke for about 18 minutes. And, you know, he talked about himself, and he got onto these points in talking about Trump. But it's like, okay, you're treading a thin line, because as many things that, and these are recent things, this is not stuff that happened 20 years ago. This things that he's speaking of, talking about mind your own damn business, these bills he passed into law last year. So you don't mind your own business. And with the COVID, you don't mind your own business. You don't let people have the right to choose whether or not, if they want to take this vaccine or not. And matter of fact, it was a state mandate. Minnesota had a state mandate for you to take this vaccine, or you lost your jobs. Okay, nurses lost their jobs. Teachers lost their jobs under your leadership. Now, I can't say that, Minnesota is supposed to be one of the best places to live. They have like 10 metrics that they go by: economy, diversity, I guess you want to call it, opportunity, crime, education, and all that stuff. They said it's like top 4, top 5. They used to be top 10 as far as education, but the test scores came out. Now it's like in the 20th percentile, or the 20th place ranked in the state. But, they have a strong GDP in healthcare. Now, okay, so before I get to that, so Tim Walz, he talked about self-serving, that Donald Trump is self-serving, and a part of his speech. Okay.
Over our economy into the ground. Now, Donald Trump sees the world a little differently than us. First of all, he doesn't know the first thing about service. He doesn't have time for it because he's too busy serving himself. Again and again and again, Trump weakens our economy to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws. He sows chaos and division. And that's to say nothing of his record as president. He froze in the face of the COVID crisis. He drove our economy into the ground. And make no mistake, violent crime was up under Donald Trump. That's not even counting the crimes he committed.
So you see how he got the crowd roaring, and he's the VP. Kamala Harris cannot do this type of stuff because she's not a likable person. This guy Walz, he's a more likable person. And reason why he's more likable, he probably has the experience to get people riled up because we're a team. He served in the military. He had some rank in the military, actually the National Guard. So he has that experience to get the people going. Now, someone put in the chat, yeah, he's a sheep in a wolf in sheep's clothing, because some of this stuff that he's talking about is total. I wish we could have fact checked, or not wish. I did fact check some of the stuff that he's talking about. We know the economy suffered under Trump when COVID happened, but it was state individually mandated that the state shut everything down. So if you were in one of those states that shut you down, your business probably suffered. Your business probably suffered. Michigan, my business suffered tremendously. I never got back to, the once. I mean, I was on track to make $500,000 in sales in 2020, but they completely shut us down. And, so I never really got back in track. And this is firsthand knowledge because it's my business. And then, in Michigan, they shut us down. In Minnesota, they shut people down as well. But they allowed BLM to protest and riot. Okay? They literally burned Minnesota down. So when we talk about economy, yeah, the economy suffered tremendously during COVID. But prior to COVID, it was really well. Inflation was low. Commercial real estate, you had all kinds of deals that you could get into at a low cost. The price to borrow money was low. It was, people had extra money in their pocket. And it doesn't matter if you were upper echelon, whatever, you say, whatever tax bracket you were, you still had extra money that you could kind of splurge and go on vacation and stuff. But now the economy is so bad, you can't even go on vacation. I'm one of those people, me and my husband, we talked about it. We was like, we're not going to go nowhere this year. We're not going to take a summer vacation this year. We want to do some stuff around the house. So we just, that's we got to nix the summer vacation. So we might go to like a water park close by, but spending $8,000-$10,000 on a summer vacation, we can't do that this year. So, I mean, as far as the economy goes, we are suffering. So he acts as if Kamala Harris just got to the scene and it was all under Trump administration these last 4 years. No, dude. The lady that you're backing, it was Kamala Harris. This is Bidenomics that we're suffering. This is what he said when, they took to the streets. This was back in 2020. This is Tim Walz talking to the public. And it's like, I know you guys heard me say before, you put a bag over your head and you feel something wet and they tell you it's raining outside and it's literally raining shit. You just ignoring the signs of shit raining on your head. And this is what Tim Walz, he's not all there. He's real radicalized. This is what he had to say.
I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to a lot of people for the peace and the generosity, the kindness and the love that's been shown on our streets of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and across Minnesota over the last several days. And last evening was another example of that. We saw peaceful protests across the city. We saw memorials continue to grow for George Floyd down on 38th in Chicago. We saw beautiful interactions on the state capitol, where out of respect, the National Guard troops there told the protesters out of respect they would go back away to the building and just take care of those vehicles that were out front, which of course they did. Not protesters at that point, certainly neighbors and friends and agents of change. Just want to give a
So you're telling your people in Minnesota, saying we saw these peaceful protests, and if you walk downtown Minnesota or Minneapolis, is it, yeah, Minneapolis, they burn that city down to the ground. They burnt this city down to the ground. They burnt the police station. One of these pictures that you're seeing, a big police station, they burnt it down. They were burning police cars. And you refused the National Guard help to come in to help you keep this city and some of these businesses from getting burnt down to the ground. I just don't understand that. Why would you do that as a governor? And we don't know how many people got hurt during these type of riots and incidents. We don't know. But he's telling the people, oh, we saw some peaceful protests. We saw people memorializing George Floyd, and it got larger. Are you talking about the flames that got larger? Like, what are you saying? Then at the end, you're saying, oh, then they were not protesters. Okay, what were they? What do you call them? So like I said, it's raining, and they're telling you it's raining rain, but it's really raining shit on your head. And can this guy truly be trusted? I don't think so, you guys. I don't think so. I wish people will look into what Tim Walz is, the type of person he is. I think he's very sneaky. I think he talks a good game, and he has his hand behind his back. He shakes your hand, and he has his fingers crossed behind his back. Reason why I'm saying this is because he's been in politics for a while. Now, I found some information. When the debate come, they're going to eat his ass up. Now, it's all fluff and games, and because nobody's getting back with him. JD Vance is going to eat his ass up, because if I could find the information, no telling what Trump people will find on this guy. It's very damning evidence. This guy, he got into office. You know how you do your campaign fundraising. And I guess some healthcare lobbyists lobbied with him and tried to get some laws passed, and they end up passing. And all of a sudden, he ends up getting this $4.5 million donation. He received a $4.5 million donation. Tim Walz, he grew up poor. He was in the military, and he's a teacher. Prior to him getting into office, that's what he did. Have you ever met a teacher that was worth $19 million? No, because he wasn't worth that. He wasn't worth that. Tim Walz net worth of $19 million, suspicious deals. In 2010, he was worth $0.7 million. So $700,000. That's what his worth. In 2015, his worth was $3 million. It skyrocketed to $11 million in 2020. In 2022, now he's worth $16 million. In 2024, he is worth $19 million. Okay? They're saying on this, suspicious deals. Tim Walz has investments in various industries like education, healthcare, renewable energy, and real estate, often through family members to avoid legal troubles, which all politicians do. He make good He makes a good amount of money from these investments each month, estimated to be about $1.2 million. As a governor, he has used his influence to help certain businesses in exchange for campaign donations. Over the years, he has received large sum of money from lobbyists. For example, he supported a healthcare group with a regulatory issue, and in return, the group donated $4.7 million to his campaign. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Why did his net worth between 2015 and 2020, right after COVID happened, skyrocket? Most of his investment is in healthcare, you guys. Healthcare. So you use it, and remember, I go back to the story I was telling you. He used black media to propaganda fear for black people to take the COVID vaccine. This is all speculatory, but if most of your investment is in healthcare, you get lobbyists from healthcare, and you issuing out vaccine mandates. I would like to see if Tim Walz has any stock in any of the vaccine companies. Let's get real here, people. I know we got some people that love Democrats, but let's get real. We talk about Donald Trump and he didn't have to do anything to make his wealth because his daddy gave him $40 million. But he built the empire and bought real estate, even though they still tried to prosecute him, even though he paid all his loans back. But he wasn't in politics. He wasn't in politics. Ever since they tried to prosecute Donald Trump, all of a sudden, because he decided to switch to Republicans. Okay, now you ain't gonna do what the hell we say. We can't puppet string you. We can't tell you what to do. We're gonna tear you apart. And that's exactly what they did to Donald Trump. As soon as you go against the grain, they will tear you down. Back to Tim Walz. We're saying, oh, this is a great pick. Without him giving us any of his background, of course, he's not going to tell us, oh, I had some healthcare people lobbying with me to get some laws passed, and they gave me $4.7 million. He's one of those elitists that we're talking about, that Democrats hate so much. He didn't get off of his $19 million off of blood, sweat, and tears. No, he used his position of power to get his $19 million of net worth. Let's just say that there. Okay. And if he has a chance to get elected in office, guess how much his net worth is going to be after that? Michelle Obama, they got her on here. She wasn't even in office. But just off her name, she's worth $160 million. So Tim Walz, in this speech, he gets to tease or started talking about J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance went to Yale or Harvard, one of those, schools, prestigious schools. And he said, oh, J.D. Vance is this type of way. J.D. Vance grew up poor. J.D. Vance grew up poor. He probably went to Yale on a scholarship. To give Tim Walz credit, he did mention that. He didn't say on a scholarship, but he said some elitists paid him to get this scholarship or go to Yale. Okay, so, and he probably had an academic scholarship. So the guy is smart, had an academic scholarship. So he got his way paid through scholarship. He's not an elitist, though. He's just a regular guy. He served in the military. Just a regular guy. You know, so you're saying that you're so much better than JD Vance because you were also poor, or because you didn't go to Yale. That's why you're so much better than he is. I think like I said, I think he's worse than Kamala Harris. He's really fake. He mentioned JD Vance that he was the architecture of Project 2025. They keep on spreading this lie on this Project 2025 like that's their platform, Trump's platform, and that's not what he's running on. But he spread that lie, so I had to pull up Project 2025 because they do have a lot of contributors. JD Vance is not mentioned one time in Project 2025. You know how you could PDF and do a search in the PDF? He's not even mentioned one time. So this is the lie that they're telling you. And people will not, they won't check it. They would just go on because Tim Walz seemed pretty a believable guy, right? So they won't check this information. They would just say, oh yeah, the Project 2025, JD Vance is the architecture. He's the author. He put everybody together. Come on now, let's stop it with the madness. Before I go to the next story, I think when you're saying mind your own business and you call out other people for not they're being self-serving, you are a big hypocrite. You are a big hypocrite. Because anyone that takes money from lobbyists, you're a hypocrite. You're very self-serving. I don't care if you guys get mad at me. This Kamala and Tim Walz ticket is a sham. And if you're voting for these people, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm not telling you to vote for Donald Trump, but you shouldn't be voting for Tim Walz. You shouldn't be. And Kamala Harris. Tim Walz seems like he has better business acumen than Kamala Harris. So I could say that. Even though he don't even own no businesses. He invests in businesses, but he doesn't own any. But I could tell you he probably has a better acumen than her. Anyway, I'm going to get off of that. You guys let me know what you think. Let's see who else we have in the building. Lexi, thank you for tuning in. Reggie, hey love, coming from H-Town. Thank you for tuning in. Joseph Young Jr., I am 100% winning. Victory for Donald Trump will be our 2024 president. Again, he's bringing the Holy Bible back to the schools. Amen. Hallelujah. If you don't like Jesus, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to pray for you. You get offended by that, I'm just going to pray for you. Okay? Samuel J. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He pretends to be the older, wiser guy, smarter version of Kamala. Yes, and they're the same age, really. But he's not the older, wiser guy. They're the same age. He looks older and wiser. Look, he looks about 70, but he's only 60. Matter of fact, I think he just turned 60. Signal Corpse. Black people can't trust anything about these fake black people. I don't know. Kamala, I guess, he sounds like a con artist. Yes, he does. Gary Williams tuning in for Los Angeles, California. What is good? Always great to see people from the West Coast. Samuel J. The left media called Trump a dictator and Hitler. What would they call Tim? I guess they're really excited. If you hear the media talking about, I don't want to pay any of those videos, but if you really hear about them, they're really excited about Tim Walz because I think they thought Tim Walz is the middle ground. And the way he was talking like, oh, he's in the middle of the road liberal. No, he's extremist. This guy is extreme. Anytime you putting tampons in the boys' bathroom because you believe that children can use the boys' bathroom because they identify as a boy, you're extreme. Because boys don't have periods. I'm sorry. Anytime you say, oh, I'm going to sign a bill, if your kid come across those state lines to get gender affirming care, we're not going to release your child back to you. And you could get arrested from getting your child, your minor child. They will arrest you if your child is going through body dysmorphia and decided, oh, I'm going to escape to Minnesota. They will arrest your ass. It's a law. That is extreme, all the way off the cliff. Extreme left, all the way off the cliff. Kennard the DJ, what is good? Yeah, Pamela, we was just talking about that. He let Minnesota burn doing George Floyd. You said gathering. The George Floyd gathering. They had a candlelight visual, and the candles was the building. Like, come on now. He let it burn down to the ground. All those small businesses that they burned, they cannot recuperate after that. Those businesses they haven't came back. Anytime they have a riot, they had a 1960 something riot, 67, 65 riot in Detroit. If you go back to that same place right on Gratiot, same area, that whole strip has been empty. No business have ever returned to that strip. And it's 2024. This is the impact that we have. And we burn our own shit. It doesn't make any sense. We'll burn mom and pop stores. But one thing they did, okay, they burned the police station. Okay, I guess they took a stance on that. But all these other mom and pop stores, these small businesses that they burned, I think it's really ridiculous. I don't think you should have burned any businesses or any establishment because you live there. Okay, we talking about crime and, I guess they want to defund the police. So they took a stand. They're going to burn the police station. But they should have issued out the National Guard to prevent that from happening. Because like I said, we don't know how many people were hurt during this whole ordeal. We don't know. This whole ordeal, we don't know how many people were hurt. We don't know how many people called the cops, wasn't in the area, called the cops and couldn't get service because they was burnt. They burnt the police station. It doesn't really make any sense. Anyway, Kennard says they probably allowed that to help to gentrify the area. Exactly. Right now you could get the property. I was looking at a real estate property, piece of shit real estate, even the land in Detroit. They want so much for that land. They're not trying to give it for pennies on the dollar, even though it still haven't came back to, its once heyday. But they're making sure only certain people could afford those types of property. They're trying to make it. They starve poor folks out. You don't get a chance to buy a property there unless you have the money. And now, if you go on their land bank website, you got to put a plan together. You either got to live in Detroit or have the plan, and you got to show your funds before you even bid on a property in Detroit. I could see two sides of it. They want to make sure you just don't have no vacant property just sitting and not doing nothing with it. But then on the other side, what if I'm just, hey, this is my first time real estate investing. Maybe I want to and buy a couple of properties up and work on it as I go. What's wrong with that? I don't see. So they're starving the new investors out. They're really starving, people like me and you. If you're just middle class, they're starving you out. They don't want you to have that opportunity. They want big investors, big developers downtown in that surrounding area. Anyway, Kamala then let all the protesters out. You're right. Kamala said she gonna raise money for the people that was caught up at the police station that they arrested. She raised money for them. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's Tim Walz. Now, if we go back to Kamala just real quick, I want to go back to Kamala. Kai Cenat. You guys, we talked about Kai Cenat. He is a big YouTuber, a big social media star, young guy. You know, he has pulled with a lot of stars. He does a lot of streams with Kevin Hart. He had Kim Kardashian on there and her daughter. He did a thing with her. Nicki Minaj. Big stars that's on his stream. They come and, you know, spend a night with him, and they do these 9-10 hour streams, and they have fun. And he's a young guy, and he has pull with younger people. You know, he shut down New York City, and they fined him a bunch of money. You know, so he shut down New York. That's how much pull he has with younger people. Listen to this shit. This is crazy.
I got the fucking Secret Service calling me 5 times, nigga! I don't know goddamn shit about politics, my nigga. I don't know nothing. I don't know shit. I don't know not a goddamn thing, my nigga. What the fuck am I supposed to talk about on stream about politics, bro? I don't fucking know, my nigga. I'll fix this shit. Fuck. Oh, what's going on, dude? I spoke to this girl in so goddamn long who gonna have the audacity to text me, "We need you a part of the campaign." At first I was thinking she was talking about like a game, a video game, like a Modern Warfare game, or some shit. Or if not that, a clothing brand. I'm like, what campaign? Shorty gonna say, we're not gonna get into details. Yo, this is why I can't do shit. Hey, listen, I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all boys, okay? What the fuck is Castanet gonna talk about with politics, my nigga? Let's be real. Let's be real. Hey, look, mark my words. I'm gonna say it right now. If there's some way, somehow, something was to go into where I do the stream of politics, I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm going to sit on my stream and say, why did you guys call me? Like, you know, I don't know. I've never did anything with politics. And these blogs are like trying to say, yo, we gotta do this shit, God. And it's all the top blogs. But I'm like, bro, since when did niggas care about what Castanet had to talk about for politics?
You are harassing people at this point. Kamala got Kai Cenat on the verge of tears after the Secret Service tried contacting him 5 times begging to collab. You look desperate at this point, Kamala. Just run off your policies and your ticket and your own charisma. But you have none. You have no charisma. That's why you're trying to pull in and ring in people and pay them. Aiden Ross, some people, he got kicked off of, I don't know if he's on YouTube. I think he got kicked off of YouTube because, you know, some of these young kids, they think it's cool to be, what is it called? They think it's cool to be extreme. They're really No, he's still, matter of fact, he's still on YouTube. It's called Aiden Live. Now, I'm assuming that they saw this stream and with Donald Trump, and it got a bunch of views. Okay, it got a bunch of views. People was restreaming it and re-showing it. He had a stream with Donald Trump. He gave Donald Trump a cyber truck. It was wrapped in his that fight photo that when he got shot, he raised up his fist. It was wrapped in it, and then it said Trump 2024 with the American flag. It was really dope the way they wrapped it up. And then he gave him a Rolex watch. Okay, got 2 million views off that stream, but it kept on getting restreamed. People were replaying it. You don't have people don't like you like Donald Trump. People like Donald Trump since before he was a Republican. This is he has charisma. And you lack that. So I guess she's probably freaking out because of, everybody's talking about this Aiden Ross stream, and he did it on Kick Streamer. I don't know how many views it got on Kick Streamer, but Kick streaming. Let me just see if it's on here. But you're freaking out because you don't have the pull with the younger people. You have to pay them. And you see they're flocking to Donald Trump. If they're young, they flock to Donald Trump and they're giving him gifts. They're giving them gifts and they're bringing the people to him. They're bringing the people to him. So, and now you're freaking out. You're trying to pay people to attend to the Democrat convention. I showed you guys that they're paying people $20,000 if you're a social media, I guess, influencer. They're going to pay for your flight and your hotel, and you just need to post it one time about, whatever, and they're going to pay for you to do that. So you have to pay influencers to move your message, whereas Donald Trump, he doesn't have to pay anybody. They just are willing to do it because they believe in a cause. So right now, I think the hype is all fake. It's a manufactured hype around Kamala Harris and now her name VP Tim Walz. Right now it's manufactured. I think next week is going to die down, or maybe in 2 weeks, and especially after the debate. I don't know why I'm putting the words together. After the debate, I think it's going to die down and their numbers are going to tumble. It's just right now is a falsified hype because they're going to see the real Kamala Harris, because nobody, like I said, nobody really likes you. You're kind of cringe. So that's with that. Another thing I came across. I don't know how true this is. They're saying hacker interrupts leftist reporter of Mark Halperin's live stream on Walz Harris ticket. I guess they were announcing the newly announced ticket and they had a live stream. And somebody hacked in and they were saying, oh, this guy was masturbating on the live stream. This is totally sick and disgusting. Why would you do this? And how did they hack into the stream? But this was the report, okay? And this happened yesterday. That's it. That's all I gotta say about that. You guys put in the chat. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Now we're going to go to our next story of the hour. Our next story is Cori Bush. Now, this should be a sign for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. If you try to usher in that extremist views and you tout these extremist views, more likely you're not gonna win, because apparently Jewish people don't like it. Jewish people, they like, oh, hell no, you voting against us. Oh, another thing about Tim Walz, reason why I think he's a bad move, because he is a sympathizer with the Palestinian group. You know, he's cozy with Ilhan Omar. So I think it's not going to go so well with him. But I'm not for sure. We haven't heard no Jewish people stand out. Josh Shapiro is still with them. So he's still on the train. So maybe since he's co-signing, maybe they're like, okay, maybe he's okay. I'm not for sure. But anyway, Cori Bush, she lost her seat. Cori Bush lost her seat. And she was crying about it. She was crying about it. And she got really angry. Really angry about losing her seat. I just want to pull up the numbers. It was a landslide. I think she was at 42%. And her challenger, I think his name is Timothy or something like that, he ended up getting like 54% of the vote. So I don't even think she could ask for a recount, because they're not in that percentage range. I think you got to be in a certain percentage range to ask for a recount. Cori Bush, challenger, she was ousted. Let me just share this. Missouri Rep. Cori Bush is ousted by a primary challenger backed by pro-Israel group. Okay, that's the AI PAC group. So she was ousted by Wesley Bell. I don't know why I called him Tim Bell, but Wesley Bell. He's a St. Louis County prosecutor who was backed by a pro-Israel group. She now becomes the second member of the progressive House Democrats, known as the Squad, defeated in the primary that was linked to the incumbent's views of Israel. In June, New York Representative Jamal Bowman lost to his own well-funded challenger. Okay, so yeah, Cori Bush, she was 45% of the vote. So I guess this was the 99% final vote result. And Wesley Bell, he ended up winning by a whopping 51.2%. So about maybe 7,000 votes he won by. Okay. It says in 2021, she slept on the Capitol steps to protest expiring eviction moratorium. She is also an abortion rights supporter who worked to repeal the federal law that Democrats fear could use to ban medication used to terminate pregnancy. This year, her longstanding criticism of Israel and advocacy of Palestinians helped fuel Bell's campaign. Bush angered some Jewish leaders after Hamas' deadly October 7th attack for her criticism of Israel military actions in Gaza, including saying in a tweet that she couldn't be silent about Israel's ethnic cleansing campaign. Israeli officials say that the high civilian death toll in Gaza is the consequence of Hamas hiding among the non-combatants while waging war. And this is Wesley Bell. He's a Democrat as well. Don't know how extreme he is. Maybe they got on the phone and talked to him and asked him what was his stand on Israel. So maybe he's a pro-Israel person. But wouldn't that be funny? They usher him in or got him in office and he takes a totally different stance. He takes a totally different stance and it backfires on him. But Anyway, so as she tried to prevail in one of the most expensive House primaries of the year, Bush was unapologetic about speaking in support of Palestinians and criticizing the Israeli government. She said she found commonalities between Black Americans fighting for civil rights and Palestinians seeking self-determination. I don't see any commonalities. I'm sorry. I don't see commonalities. I think people, they say open air prison because they know if Palestinians go into their land, they in fright of this might be Hamas. They voted these Hamas people in there, and now they got to deal with it. People don't even do business in Gaza because they afraid that, okay, this person might be linked to Hamas and I got to deal with this bullshit of terrorists terrorizing me about my business. So that's why they're in a quote unquote open air prison. Do I agree with the killings of the civilians and babies and stuff? No, I don't agree with it. I think it's terrible. I do think they need a ceasefire. This is one of the consequences when you have people, they don't really think out what they really want. They say they want to have a certain group of people govern them, and they don't really look into, okay, how will they govern us? Same with Venezuelans. They gave the government so much power, and now they end up getting a dictator out, but they voted that guy in. And he tried not to leave. They took away their only rights to protect themselves, i.e. a gun. You could only have a 23 caliber gun, and I think you couldn't have that anymore. I think they end up taking that right away. So I think, you have these people voting, saying, hey, I want communism, I want socialism, and it's really communism and dictatorship, and then you want to cry for help. You got to live with it. You have to live with the consequences that maybe your people vote these people in. Yeah, we got to get more educated about who we voting in. This is why I'm talking about these people on my channel, because I think we got to be educated about the people that we're voting in. We can't just say, oh, he talks a good talk and vote him in. And like I said, he has his hand behind his back, and Kamala have their hand behind their backs. And then we want to cry, well, somebody help us. No, we should have looked to see what type of people that we're voting in. We should have looked at it. We should have did some investigation. And you shouldn't get mad at people when they show you something that you don't want to hear, but it's true. Anyway. So she said what we're saying was we can condemn Hamas and also care about the lives of the Palestinian people and not want to see them harmed as well. Yeah, you can. I think you can. But I think her talk and her rhetoric and waving their damn flag and all that stuff is like, okay, you could say all that stuff without posting shit on your Twitter page and all that stuff, from the river to the seas and all that, acting like you're a Palestinian. This is I tell you guys this, what I have problems with Black people. We take up any humanitarian cause besides our own. Like, we take up, the Israeli people are getting, victimized, or the Palestinians being victimized, and you don't care about your own people being victimized. Besides, if if the cop is victimizing us, that's the only time we care about it. But we don't care about a victimization upon each other, which is really ridiculous. But we'll pick up the feminist cause, the Palestinian cause, the trans cause, the LGBTQ cause, and you're not even in that space. But we pick up all these causes besides a Black cause. Your babies can't read. That kind of cause. Your babies is out there killing each other. Black on Black crime. Why can't we pick up that cause? So we shoot ourselves in the foot and thinking like we're going to be the champion. And she had her wake up call. Like, no, you're not the one that's pulling the strings. So I know I'm rambling and talking. I just want to share this with you guys before I move on. This is her after she lost. Okay. She's saying the strings are no longer attached to me. And now I'm really radicalized.
Pulling me away from my position as Congresswoman. All you did was take some of the strings off. Let's be clear. 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 Let's talk about what it really is. Because see, now I don't have to worry about some strings that I have attached to it as much as I love my job. But all they did was radicalize me, and so now they need to be afraid. See, now they about to see this other Cori, this other side, because let me say this. I just grew up a whole lot more over the last few weeks. Just grew up a whole different way. And so what they are about to get, they think. So the thing is this. The thing is this. I don't think that anything, there is nothing that happens in my life that happens in vain. So if this happened, it's because it was meant to happen. And let me say, it's because of the work that I need to do. And let me say this. AIPAC, I'm coming to tear your kingdom down.
So she's calling out AIPAC, and that is the Israel Political Action Committee or fund, pro-Israel fund that, you know, they invest, you know, they put their money behind candidates, and they, you know, they have a cause. Okay, it's pro-Israel. So she's calling them out. She's calling them out. Some people are laughing at her. I'm not gonna laugh at her. I think this is a sign for all the other extremists out there. People don't like that extreme shit. You know, you could pay politics. We don't care if you have these strings attached to you, but you starting to usher in some extreme laws, and you starting to be really extreme. Nobody likes that. And we know that Jewish people, they have some deep pockets in all industries. Okay. You can't go nowhere, in the United States or any industry where Jewish people probably don't have their hands in. Real estate, politics, music, you know, where, entertainment, any type of, you know, where you must have deep pockets, that's where they're at. Okay. So you're raging a war against them. I don't think it's going to help. I think it's not going to help. I don't think it's wrong with saying, hey, this is wrong. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but you're calling them out and thinking, you know, you're going to tear somebody's kingdom down. I don't think that's going to happen. It sounds like a good talk, but no, I don't think that's going to happen. I wonder what her strategy will be to tear this organization down. I just anyway. So she lost her primary seat. Some people are saying now they got to get Ilhan Omar out there, AOC. I don't know who's running against AOC, but she won her primary. And some other people that's on there, Rashida Tlaib. I don't think Rashida Tlaib, if she does have a Republican challenger, she's in my city. Her district is mainly her people. So she has to do something egregious for her people not to vote her in. Really egregious. And I think they like her in that district. And I know her father doesn't. He says some crazy stuff about her, but yeah, so that's that, you guys. That's it for our business talk. You guys put in the chat, let me know what you think about all this going on. Hagen AZ is good, always good to see you. Down goes Cori Booger Bush. Not a racial thing, but all Congress people need to have certain level of professionalism. Yes. And she's not very professional either. I covered Cori Bush quite a bit on my channel, and she's I don't know, she's like really extreme. She says some crazy stuff. Bush doesn't even understand economics and taxes. Yeah, I shared that video too. The guy was like, well, if you have more money, if you make more money, you are in a higher tax bracket. So therefore, you pay more taxes. She didn't understand that concept. She didn't understand that concept. Kennard, the DJ, said they tore the whole country up behind the dope fiend, but black kids are getting killed by black kids daily, and all they get is a balloon release. Exactly. This is why I have a problem with some of our black people. We take up all humanitarian cause besides our own. We take up all these humanitarian causes besides our own. We should be mad as hell at the public education system. We should be mad as hell that we got so many guns out on our streets. Illegal guns. You could put all the ramifications or all the restrictions on gun laws. It's not going to stop illegal gun owners. They don't care about laws. So what are you going to do about that? Say it 10 times in a row. Bush is going to get hired by Tiff to do the books in Dalton. Yeah, APAC is really scared. Yeah, they like, okay, you puny person, you don't get the pull or the money behind you to take them down. You don't. The squad is falling. First Jamal, now Bush. Yes. And now if they could get Omar out in the primary, I would be happy. Omar is going to be just like Rashida Tlaib. Rashida, she has majority of her population. And I believe in Omar district, she has a bunch of Somalians in her district. Remember in Minnesota, remember I showed you that video. They're real liberal. They have an all-woman city council in Minnesota. I believe that was Minneapolis, Minnesota. St. Paul makes history with the all-female city council, a rarity among large cities. All-woman city council. They have a population of 300,000. It's the first large U.S. city known with all-female city council. But even as the council members celebrate the milestones, they are expressing more excitement about what all-female council can accomplish in the coming year. This is just an experiment right now. This is a political experiment. It takes a while to tear down a good, whatever, infrastructure. Now, I'm not saying they're going to tear it down, but I think you're one-sided. Just like if you have just all a person of one race, it's the same thing. You just are one-sided. Everybody got this one way of viewing things. You're not thinking about, oh, maybe we need to do it this way. So that's the danger of that. You know, you have all women, and we see how that worked in the public school system. Because majority of the public school system is women, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we'll see if it's gonna, you know, what are we calling it? If it's gonna, you know, end up with a damn hot mess in St. Paul. But these are the ladies. I think some of them, I think one lady is an engineer. It's a couple of them that's like seniors that's been on the city council before. But the rest of them are pretty new and pretty young. It says all 7 women are under 40. 6 out of 7 are women of color, from civil engineering to nonprofit directing. So civil engineering, hopefully, you know, infrastructure. So that would be great, but I don't see how this is a good thing. Like I said, I think it's an experiment. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think. I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.